What's going on, guys? Orange Forum coming at you guys today with another video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about a couple of the signings, one guy in particular. We have been on the signing fiasco, if you will, or the signing train with all these guys getting hurt in Detroit. Brad Holmes has been a busy man, doing work, putting in that work and signing free agents. We signed a total of 4 guys. I'm only going to be talking about one. Linebacker Quan Alexander. This is what this is about. But we did go out and sign guys like Jamal Adams, and I'll talk about that's going to be the 2 videos I'm going to make. One about Quan and one about Jamal Adams. And the other guy is Jonah Williams, another defensive lineman that can play inside, play outside. Mainly a defensive end though at this point in his career. And then Miles Adams is another guy that they poached off of. I believe it was the Seahawks practice roster, and that's another guy that came into the league as pretty much a defensive end and gained like 40, 50 pounds and became mainly interior. A smaller defensive tackle at about 285, 290. But we're going after guys. But this one's about signing linebacker Quan Alexander. Brad Holmes stays busy and continues to add to this roster. Alexander does land on the practice squad, and I'm sure he's going to... No, I'm not sure. Actually, I think he's on the 53-man roster right away. Jamal Adams is on the practice squad as of right now. He's going to get elevated probably within the next day or 2. Yeah, probably tomorrow. Who knows? But let's talk about Quan Alexander. You guys know him from college. I went to LSU for he was there for 3 years. He's 30 years old right now. 6'1", 227 pounds. 167 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 5 pass deflects, breakups, 1 fumble recovery, 3 forced fumbles, and 1.5 sacks. That got him drafted in the 4th round in 2015 by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then he spent 10 years in the NFL, 4 with the Buccaneers, 1 year with the 49ers, and split that, went to the Saints for 2 more years. 2020 is when he kind of went to 2 teams. I think he was traded to the Saints, if I can remember correctly. It was a little bit ago. Then he was with the Jets for a year, Steelers for a year, and then now we poached him off the Broncos, Denver Broncos practice squad, and now he's with our Detroit Lions. In his career, he's had 639 tackles, 54 tackles for loss, 34 pass deflections, 6 fumble recoveries, 13 forced fumbles, 9 picks, 1 touchdown, 13.5 sacks, 90 starts, 1 Pro Bowl, 2017 with the Bucs. He was pretty good there. This is a guy that has played middle linebacker, outside linebacker, left and right. So he's played on both sides of the field. Versatility. That's one thing that this regime craves and they want. They want that from their players. And Quan brings that. Now, what else he brings? He brings a lot of injuries. He's a guy that has kind of fallen off the cliff a little bit the last few years. Being on, going to obviously teams like the Jets, the Steelers, and the Broncos, stuff like that. A lot of injuries, man. Thigh and hamstring strain, knee ACL tear, surgery, 2018. Chest and pec tear, surgery there. An arm and a bicep tear, surgery, high ankle sprain, Achilles tear, and then a Achilles tear again in 2023. And they had to take care of that under the knife. So he's been under the knife a few times, 3-4 times, a lot of injuries, Achilles tear, which is bad. This type of linebacker, he's come out and said that he's ready to go to war for Dan Campbell and his linebacker unit. He's ready to rock. Like I said, he was on the Broncos. He started 3 games. Or 2 games as a Bronco. Played in another as a 3rd game and has kind of been stuck on the practice squad. Now, there's probably a lot of reasons for that. There's slowing down, injuries, doesn't fit the system, not good enough. Denver has a pretty good defense. So there's a plethora of things about Quan Alexander. I like the signing because what else are you going to do? This is at least a guy that's got history. I know some of it's bad with the injuries. I get it. But it's at least a guy that's been busy. Like I know all the guys that are sitting at home, not on rosters. I know they're taking care of themselves. and they're they're obviously practicing every day. The guys that that are on these practice squads, like Adams, or Adams actually was let go by the Tennessee Titans, but guys like what's this called, Quan Alexander, at least they're practicing, getting in game shape, hitting at practice, doing whatever they got to do. The other guys at home, that's what I'm trying to say. The other guys at home, they're just kind of like, waiting. They're obviously training, getting in shape, but it's just not the same. Now, this is a guy that plays the run well, but I think his best thing is dropping back into coverage. If you watch him, he's a guy that, he's got some picks in his career. He's been 10 years in the NFL. Not a lot of picks, 9 of them altogether. But, he can create some plays. He can create some problems. He's an undersized linebacker at 6'1", 225 pounds, 227. So 225 to 230. Lot of just a lot of injury history. But a guy that can play a little bit. Now, it sounds like he has the juice. He has played for the Broncos this year in 2024. He's been a journeyman. So it's interesting to see what he brings to the table. Like I said, I like him as a kind of a more of a pass cover linebacker. We brought in Jamal Adams, and I'm not going to too much get into it. It's a guy that's not going to play too much safety. He's not going to play too much safety, and he's already practicing with the linebackers, but we'll get to that in the next video that I do either tonight or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. But if you look at this linebacker depth chart, it's frightening. And I don't mean in a good way. Our starters are Jack Campbell, who's been good, and Ezekiel Turner at the moment. Their backups are David Long Jr., Ben Neiman, and Trevor Nowoski, and now Quan Alexander. Now, you're going to see David Long probably start over Ezekiel Turner. That's going to be my guess. We could see Ezekiel Turner starting on Thursday night, though, versus the Packers. Been here longer. Doesn't mean he's better. Just he's been here not longer. Knows the system a little bit. David Long, we brought in, 2 weeks ago? So he doesn't know all the words yet, all the verbiage, all the codes, all that stuff. I'm sure he's getting immaculated to it. He's starting to learn it. He's absorbing it. But Ezekiel Turner probably has maybe a little bit of a jump on him in that department. Not that he's more talented, because I don't think he is. David Long Jr. has started in the NFL for the Titans and Miami. So I kind of expect Jack Campbell and probably David Long. Just all depends on what kind of linebackers they're looking for, right, to start that game. But we've been seeing more Ben Neiman. We've been seeing more Trevor Nowoski. And now Quan Alexander is added to the mix. So, and then you guys got guys in a practice squad like Abraham Beauplay. And the IR is just ridiculous. Derek Barnes, Alexander Deloney, Jalen Reeves-Maben, and then the new addition with Malcolm Rodriguez being done. So, I like this signing. I'm not jumping over hoops for it. I'm not planning the parade, okay? I'm not planning the parade, but there's not really a lot they can do. They're obviously looking for guys that have recently been on teams. And I'm talking 2024. Jamal Adams, like I said, don't want to get too much into it, but he was on the Titans this year. I think they released him back in October, November. I forget what it was. I think it was October, though. So, but he's been recently on a team. I think they're looking for guys like that. Not saying they're not going to sign anybody else, but they're looking for guys that have at least that are in practice shape. And Quan Alexander, knock on wood, I hope he stays healthy. Jamal Adams, hope he stays healthy, because I think they can be big-time contributors. Are they going to start? No. I don't think they're going to start. Now, Quan Alexander, I think, has the best chance to start, because Jamal Adams, I believe, is not get into it again, but is going to be kind of that hybrid role where he's playing linebacker safety. You don't want to see Jamal Adams in coverage, though. If you think some of our cover guys can't cover, you're going to be shocked when you watch Jamal Adams try to cover people. And I'm not trying to rip on him, but it's not his game. It hasn't been his game since he was a rookie, and he was an all-pro Pro Bowler. He was never a cover guy. So I'll look more into that. I'll look more into that tape, but I can already tell you what he is. He's a blitzer. He's a run stopper. He's a guy that delivers big hits. But he's another guy that's a Band-Aid. But this is the Quan Alexander show. And I think he has a better chance to start. He's been there. He's done that. He's a true linebacker. And I would like to think that he's more talented than Trevor Nowatzki, Ben Neiman, and even David Long Jr., who I think is probably going to start sometime sooner than later. David Long, for sure. He could get the nod over Ezekiel Turner. He could. It could even be Ben Neiman for this game, just starting. But Quan is getting in there, and I think they're going to slowly get him more in there as the season goes on. But he's another guy that's a Band-Aid. But he's made plays in the past. Pro Bowler, All-Pro, whatever he was. Only one of them, but he's been on a plethora of teams. And a guy that has just been injured a lot in his career. A lot. Missing a lot of time. Surgeries, multiple surgeries. So, but it's a guy that I do like. It's okay. I'm okay with it because what else are they going to do? They're not going to just go pick someone off a couch who's been training and just throw him in there. That's going to even take even longer. I think these guys right here that they're picking up, the guys that they're picking up, at least have all been on rosters. If you notice that. It's not guys that they just grabbed off the street. Adams was a guy that was released for a couple months, but at least he was probably in shape, in game shape, and I'm sure he was keeping himself in shape. But Quan Alexander, he was plucked off the Broncos practice squad. Jonah Williams plucked off I think it was the Rams practice squad. Miles Adams off the Seahawks practice squad, if I'm remembering correctly. I should have wrote that. But with Quan, I think he's going to get a chance to make a little bit more of a name, I think, right off the bat. And it's guys that have been there. And it's guys that have been there too. The guys that they're picking, especially Adams and Quan. They've been there. They've got lots of starting. They got lots of starting under their belt. They got lots of experience there and versatility. That's what they love. Even the two D linemen have versatility. Williams and Adams. It's what they love. It's like I've said in the past, guys. It's like I think another reason why James Houston isn't here is probably because he was not versatile. Couldn't play inside. He couldn't play outside linebacker. He couldn't play middle linebacker. He couldn't play the run that well. He didn't drop back in coverage well. He could get to the quarterback though, but they want to look for more than that. And I think it's one of the reasons why I think some stuff happened in the locker room, but not necessarily with the players, but I think with the coaches is what I'm hearing. So I think that's a reason why he's not here, because you heard that when we start signing all these guys. Well, why did they get rid of James Houston? Why did they get rid of James Houston? What idiots. First of all, you can't ever predict injuries. You can't predict injuries. You don't know what's ever going to happen. And like I said, they're going after guys that have kind of been there, and the guys are already in game shape, most of them. So, but I like the Quan Alexander pickup. I'm going to talk about the Adams one next on the next video. Probably do that tomorrow. But Quan Alexander is a guy that's got some Pro Bowls in him. A lot of injuries. He can play the run. I think his best trait is dropping back into coverage a little bit. He can run with tight ends. He can run with running backs. Will he be slowed down because of all those injuries? That's a possibility. He's older. He's 30. That's old in football years. But I don't mind the pickup. And these guys, all four of these dudes might be ready to rock and roll on Thursday. We're that banged up. Where there's probably going to be 2 or 3, maybe even 4 of these guys already on the roster, sit on the sidelines. How much time they get playing, I don't know. There'll be small packages for Quan, small packages for Adams, Jonah and Miles. Will they even sniff the field? Maybe on special teams. I don't know, but I expect Quan Alexander and Jamal Adams to maybe get into this game on Thursday. We're that light, guys. We are extremely light on defense. Arguing with these guys, arguing with the people on these Facebook groups, man. Oh, saying that, that we're not that injured. Don't make it an excuse on Thursday. And I'm not. I'm not going to make an excuse, but it's legit. It's a legitimate reason. to worry about. I don't think it's going to be the reason why we lose, why we win, but I am legitimately concerned. I'm legitimately concerned about this defense and the injuries. We've played great football. Great football. Probably the best football that I've seen in a long time, especially on this defense. This defense losing player after player week by week, and it's like they're getting better. How long does that hold up? That's my major concern, because now we're coming into a stretch where we're playing really good quarterbacks. Really good. Okay? Jordan Love, of all the things you can say about Jordan Love, I know he's an interception machine. He's a little bit wild at times, but he throws dots. You know, when he's on, he's on. Then you got guys like Josh Allen from the Bills. You know, Caleb again, who's improving, but he's another guy that can throw the ball all over the place and get picked off. But he played really good against us in the second half. And you got Sam Darnold at the end of the year who's playing good. It's happening, guys. It's happening. It's a little bit worrisome. 11-1. We're a fantastic football team, but I got some worries, and that's why they went out and got guys like Quan Alexander, Jamal Adams, the guys that have been there, done that, and been in big games. All these guys have been in big games, and they got familiarity too with Quan Alexander from the Saints days. I'm pretty sure that Campbell and Glenn were there during his time. Now, Campbell was a tight ends coach and an assistant head coach in New Orleans, and Glenn was more of a DB coach. He was more of a DB coach. I don't think he was the DC there. I don't think he was ever the DC in New Orleans, but he was there. So they see those guys, right? These guys all sit in a room. These guys don't know, man. They all sit in a room. It's just not Brad Holmes going, "Hey, Dan, Aaron, Glenn, get in the office." I just picked up Quan Alexander. You guys remember him from 2020, right? You got Campbell looking at Glenn looking at Campbell. And what if they don't agree? What if they're like, "Oh my God, that's a bad pickup, bro. I can tell you some stories about him, Bob, this and that." Now, Brad Holmes is an evaluator. If you don't know that, you know that now. I'm sure you guys all did. He was an evaluator, college evaluator for the draft. He was Les Snead's right-hand man. Les Snead is the NFL GM for the Los Angeles Rams. And he was head of college, I believe it was the head of the college scouting. He was head there at LA. So he loves to evaluate. He has said it in many interviews that he just loves to evaluate players. It's his job still. He'll never take the scouting. He'll never take scouting for granted. It's how he got up in the NFL. It's something that he cherishes. And these guys all get together. And if Holmes has an idea and they all don't like it, they probably won't make the move. They have talked about they have talked about this, guys, as they all share the same brain. Him and Campbell especially. Like, Campbell will come to him, Holmes will come to Brad Holmes, and they will talk it out. And if Brad doesn't like what he's saying, it usually gets squashed. And then if Dan doesn't like what Brad's saying, they're probably not going to do it. There really has to be a lot of convincing and a lot of other things going on for if one doesn't agree. So I'm guessing, and it's what they've said in the past, that they really agreed on the Quan Alexander signing. They're like, okay, we remember him. He's a gamer. He can do this. He can do that. There's no flaws to him. I don't know what happened in the room, but I don't know the conversation, the extent of it, but I'm sure it was all not an agreement. This is the guy that we should bring in. And don't get me wrong, too, guys. There's a little bit of desperation going on right now with this football team. Not desperation that we need to win. That we need guys to stay healthy. A little bit desperate. Because we're going after guys that have a ton of injury history, especially Adams and Quan Alexander. Those guys have a ton. And we'll get into the Adams thing a little bit later. But Quan's no stranger to the injury report. No stranger to the IR. No stranger to anything like that. But he's a good linebacker. And I think he could be a good piece eventually. Don't know how much we're going to see him this week. if he even dresses at all. My guess is he does because we're decimated at linebacker. So I see him coming in. And I've talked about this probably too long. 20 minutes. I wanted to literally make this a 10-minute video, but I rambled on. But that's okay, guys. Quan Alexander in the building. What do you guys think of it? Playing some linebacker, versatility, middle, outside, left and right. You can do a little bit of everything. Play the run, drop back into coverage, blitz. You can even blitz at the NFL level. He's got 13.5 sacks. So it's a guy that can, blitz the quarterback. Not a high average getting to the quarterback of sacks, but he has the capability of doing all that. So he checks all the boxes off as a linebacker. That's one thing that you say about Quan, is that he checks all the boxes. There's no red marks in there. It's all green, except for the health problem. The health is the red problem, but I'm just talking about on the field playmaking ability. So that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching the video. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this video out. Appreciate it. Quan Alexander, guys. Will we see him this Thursday? Let's see. Boom. Detroit Lions. Boom. Grit. Boom. Boom.